has shown that in many cases you can work from anywhere, and it's kind of more flexible. The work life is more flexible than ever now. So, and that's we try to solve with our silent outdoor pod.
And you're seeing that. I'm seeing people using the pods to have meetings, take calls. I'm seeing people going out and grabbing coffee in some of the other communal areas and sitting on a call in a way that maybe before they would have had to cancel that call because they were here at the conference. And so, you know, I feel like we're seeing hybrid working kind of even going on around us at the moment. I mean, what would you say are the biggest challenges for companies that are committing to this model, that have been through the transition that we've had? What are they dealing with now? What are managers dealing with?
There are a few things. One is that it's the hybrid work culture. People working, some from our team working at home. So, and it's they sometimes have to meet, or they have to like kind of, let's say, brainstorming with the team. And these days they don't they are searching new ways to do it. And that's why we are solving with the Silent booking software platform we have. But the other thing is office space. What to do with the office space when a certain amount of people doesn't come back to the offices.
Yeah.
And how to, someone maybe think about already how to, do I want to come back to the offices? So the office companies have to think about environment, how to attract people to come back.
Yeah,
so
I think pre-pandemic, a lot of people referred to that as activity-based workspaces, so having nice areas where people can brainstorm, quiet areas where people cannot be heard by others.
More social areas. And
so that when you are there, you are having the chance to actually connect with people, not just sitting at your desk.
It's not about the desk, it's not about desk anymore. It's an environment, what office has to be today.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how different offices are going to evolve. Just a reminder, we do want this to be as interactive as possible. So if you've got any questions about the future of work or any other questions about Silent, you can get in touch by going to slido.com and putting in the hashtag, putting in nbforum 2022. And you can also do that using the app if you're present here at Nordic Business Forum in person. I've got a question from JH that's just come through now on Slido. They say, what does the future of work look like for those above the age of 60? I don't know whether that's a question more about whether people will be employable or whether you think those people are as adaptable to the hybrid world. Maybe you could reflect on both those possibilities for that question.
No, as I said, you can't take manufacturing process at home. You can do it at home. So there are many jobs available. So I don't. Actually, it's a very good question. How do you?
I mean, I think there are people worried about employability that feel that young people are coming in with innovation, with new ideas. We've also got tech that's taking over some industries. So I think there are some people in that age bracket that are worried, do I have another 5-10 years of work where I can continue to progress?
Yeah, but I believe that professionals and what we learned with the silent booking platform, actually we launched this last year in October in Tallinn, and we started with indoor silent rooms, silent pods like this, silent space, and now starting outdoor pods. And what we saw is that the most people who are using their pods somewhere, shopping malls, cafes, and now some cool locations outdoor. What they do, who they are, is people who are, let's say, try to learn new profession or do some trainings in private. Maybe they cannot do it home. It doesn't necessarily like 60 plus years. It's everyone can feel that I can't work or I can't do this at home. maybe some distraction, whatever, children or so it's easy to do it somewhere else. Do it like 1 hour, 15 minutes. Use some office space. That's what we are.
Really interesting. I'm personally a big fan of having a place to go psychologically, where okay, this is the place where I'm learning a language, or this is a place where I'm doing this focus. It's not the same place where I have my dinner.
You don't go somewhere to friends or cafe. You can't in cafe. It's noisy environment, or you need for 1 hour this per week. 1 week. This week you need 1 hour. So. You don't rent office for that.
And you say you've got some of these in natural environments as well, in beauty spots, so people can be concentrating but looking out at some nature at the same time.
Actually, this outdoor is actually doesn't. It's not that we were thinking, okay, now we do some just outdoor, but companies are asking that can we have it, or can we rent some this kind of boat for our team to brainstorming in some cool locations, not just in office. It's outside the office.
Really interesting. And you mentioned you're based in Tallinn, Estonia. I know there's quite a lot of people in the crowd visiting from Estonia. What are you personally most enjoying about being able to travel again, to come to Helsinki, to be in other cities? How have you found that experience?
Don't tell anyone. I was traveling all the time during the pandemic, so I'm wrong person to answer that.
But you can't have been in venues with this many people. That would have been illegal in most places. So, I mean, is there anything in particular, sort of networking-wise or event-wise, that's inspiring you more than these smaller business meetings?
You mean Tallinn?
I mean here in, even if you've been to have business meetings, essential business meetings during the pandemic, it's not the same as being in a room this size with this many people.
That's a great event here today.
Yeah, and anything else you're looking forward to on the agenda?
Here? First agenda, of course, networking. I have many meetings here today and tomorrow, and of course, all these silent rooms are available for everyone. So everyone want to enjoy silence and buy the pod. So you are welcome. So I am here to also to sell the boats here, but beside the value we are giving here to have a privacy.
Before we wrap up, we've got a couple more questions coming in on Slido, so I think I'll pop to those before we bring in our next guest. Tina says, what do you think the most important skills are to develop in people today, regardless of age or where they work from?
What skills are important?
What do you think the skills are needed from today's employees?
Actually, I don't believe the skills. I believe the passion you have. Whatever you like to do, it's whatever you love to do. That's what you need to do. I don't know about the skills. The skills you can always learn, but what passion you have, if you do what you really want to do, then you should do that.
It may bring other opportunities and achievements. And we mentioned you're based in Estonia. We've got another question about that. What is the superpower of Estonian people in the information age? I mean, we know a lot of tech startups have come out of Estonia. What do you think the superpower is?
I don't believe superpower, but I believe community. I believe the environment what Tallinn, Estonia has, and it started obviously from the Skype team. They have started to create a startup investment community basically. So it's all about community and the networking and all this is so available in so small area. So that's the power.
It really does have a reputation as having a good startup ecosystem and strong community. And I know, like I said, a lot of people visiting here today.
Yeah, and also Estonians are very eager to learn new things. And that's why also Tallinn is the best place to test some solutions.
Yeah, big learners and early adopters. And you've been very transparent, very authentic, so it's been great to have you here. So thanks very much to Endres Arge. Let's give him a round of applause before we meet our next guests.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so we're going to continue on that theme, talking about the future of work, but from some slightly different perspectives with our next guest. So as we're setting up the stage, I'll tell you a little bit about who they are. We have Sanna Tini, who is the CEO of cleaning startup Koti Puhtatski, which keeps picking up awards, including the top small company to work for in 2019, doing a lot of impactful work with young people too. Please have a seat. I'm just introducing you both to our guests here and at home. We also have Herta Vuorenmaa, hope I've said that correctly, Research Program Director for the Future of Work at Aalto University, just outside Helsinki. So welcome to both of you. Thank you very much for being here. We're taking questions from the audience or from the app and from slido.com on nbforum 2022. But I've got a few questions for both of you first of all. So Herta, we've talked about remote and hybrid working quite a lot. Are there any other big trends you think are going to be crucial when it comes to the future of work?
Yeah, I think plenty. But if I was kind of thinking,
I guess you wouldn't have a job if there weren't any others.
No, I'd be unemployed, and we wouldn't be here. But yeah, I think sustainability is one of the big ones, and I'm not talking about ecological sustainability. I'm talking about social sustainability. If we have estimations from, say, Stanford Center of Longevity that our working careers will span 60+ years. In years to come, we need to start thinking about how we define efficiency. We need to basically move away from the second industrial revolution's ideas of efficiency and work, what it is to work and where to work, etc., to the fourth industrial revolution where we are now, and start basically rethinking work from that. So I think that's number one. Number two, inclusion. We are now kind of surfacing, talking a lot about diversity in terms of gender, different backgrounds, skills, but we would really need to start internalizing it, that as there will be fewer people working and with more machines and more technologies, we need to pay attention to who those are and how we do it. So I think those would be my two top choices.
Okay, really interesting background. Now, Sanna, you have been running a successful cleaning business for about a decade now. I'm interested in how that has been affected by recent work trends, because thanks to remote working, a lot of people are spending more time at home. Some, but not everyone's, had more time for household chores. So how's that affected your services? Has demand gone up or down?
Well, probably somehow you don't think that it will affect. Well, first of all, when the corona came, we lost like 60% of our the bookings. And then, but it wasn't for a long time that we got all of those back and even more. Like we were quite fast, luckily, back in like growth track. And what it is nowadays, because so many people are working from home, we can really see, because we work in thousands and thousands of homes in Finland. Well, we thought that it might make orders or bookings less, but it did not, because people are working at home. So they don't want to also work after that at home. So I mean, like do like all the household duties. So people get more sick of being at home. So they want to go out after work instead of like before. It was exactly the opposite. They wanted to recover at home.
And so I guess you're also making more mess if you're at home. If you cook your own lunch, if you're there more of the time, then there's other stuff going on. You're physically present there. Let's talk a bit about your progress. You've become one of the most attractive employers in Finland, especially to young people. How have you managed to do that? Particularly, there can be some really snobby attitudes around cleaning. My first job was as a cleaner, so I think it's great, for any discussions to push against that. But how have you managed to make yourself so attractive?
That's like a very hard question, and I will need maybe an hour to explain everything. But if I say something short, I think it comes from all the people who are working in the industry. it comes from all of us who are working in the industry. We have to respect what we are doing. We have to believe that the business sector can be like valuable business, and we've been doing that. For example, I can give you some example. All our board members, who like some of them are here as well, I guess. Hello. They actually have get cleaning training as well. So we want them to know what is cleaning. So all the decisions are made by that way, that they understand the sector.
Yeah, it's recognized for the hard and challenging job that it is.
Yeah, and also like all the cleaners, they deserve to be behaved as they would be like founders or board members. They have like as great ideas as any founder or board member.
What about you? Do you still do your own cleaning, or do you employ someone from your company now?
Actually, both. Well, I love cleaning. I do it every day at home. I'm a bit like crazy cleaner, and but still, because I want to like make sure that I'm doing the right things in right timings. We also like hire the cleaning service from our company twice in a week.
Okay, good to get that perspective. Herta, any more reflections from you? We've talked a lot about this fluidity between our home and work lives, and how it's no longer just a place that you come home to after a day at work. And it can bring a lot of freedom, but it also it can bring stress and different feelings.
Yeah, I think it should be considered as a skill. Like it's a skill as we know, it's one of the hardest things in the world to be able to manage yourself. Some of us are very good at it naturally, but most of us need someone to help, some kind of tomato tactics or whatever when you're writing. And I think that it's been more and more recognized now as a meta skill, that like kids learn that at school, younger kids, and it's something that we older generations basically need to consider as part of your job. And it's actually, when I'm looking at my research data, which consists of top managers of most of the 50 biggest companies in Finland, they all recognize it as the number one skill they kind of look for in employees. They want someone who can balance their working tasks, know what to focus on, but also balance life. But we agree in our research team that it's getting a bit arbitrary to even talk about work and life. Yeah. But it's just your life, and you do different things. And now pandemic has brought work home really concretely, and now we need to figure out. I'd see it as an opportunity to look like onwards and think this is one of the things we need to rethink.
Yeah.
How do we balance it out? What's work, what's not?
And I think it's interesting, we all think we've been doing it for the past few years, but it's still a challenge because it's still new.
And I don't think we've changed our mindsets like fully yet. We're still kind of talking about going back. Yeah. And kind of, should we go back to the office, should we not? And we should be talking about what are we doing rather than where we are.
And in terms of what we're doing then, what are your key tips for people to kind of navigate that landscape in a safe and healthy way?
Well, I'm hoping that everyone has a great team leader or immediate supervisor who coaches you and helps you and kind of sets you objects that you can reach and kind of works with you in terms of what you're doing rather than where you are or what the time is. But I also think that it takes a lot of self-reflection, which is again a skill. And these are the working life skills that we don't focus on when we're looking at how to reward performance, for instance, but we should. Like, this is the type of mindset that I'm talking about. But I think that paying attention to what are your peak moments of day, when is the best time for you to write? For me, it's morning.
Yeah.
And then, organizing your day according to that rather than if you have that freedom.
Exactly.
But ideally, if you own a company, that's what you'd be thinking about. Like Sanna's textbook example of how to treat your employees as experts and kind of not looking down at any tasks, but thinking about what do we need to be done and when do we do it best.
Yeah, I do all my small tasks after 4 o'clock because I know I can be really productive at the end of the day, but I don't have the headspace for writing those kind of long things.
I leave all of the sort of simple things like to late afternoon because then my head is muddy and then I can kind of do that. But the sharp things, they need to happen early in the morning.
Yeah. What about you, Sanna? What are your tips for kind of, you're managing a business and a life. Where are the sort of tight spots for you and how do you get around them?
I think our kids are the ones who are like putting the timetables because the older one is at school and then the younger is still in daycare. So they are like really making our life easier in that point. So we work when they are at school and in daycare.
And spend time with them when they're home?
Mostly, yes.
Yeah.
And if not, they will say something about it.
Really interesting. Herta, I'm not sure how much of your research is focused on gender, but I'm really interested in this because when the pandemic first started, there were a lot of discussions about, this is now the chance for men to take on more housework, more childcare responsibilities. I think some early studies showed there was a bit of an uptick. Has that stuck? What are we learning from the pandemic?
Well, first thing to say maybe is that we're going to know in 5 years' time what really sticks from the pandemic. Like the effects of this level of change, they don't show immediately. But we do know two things. Inequalities in general have all deepened during the pandemic. So every single inequality situation has gotten one another way more difficult. But young men have for some time been, young I mean 40 downwards, they have been taking fatherhood in a rather different way than the older generations. And whether that sticks or not remains to be seen. But there we see a completely different attitude to work and life and parenthood and all of that. So the answer is the classic research answer, yes and no, and maybe. But I think that the young generations are changing the working life in general at the moment with their attitudes. And I think that there's a good chance that that will actually stay. Because I can see company cultures having to change to accommodate that. So maybe.
I mean, if more men are leaving to pick up their kids early from school, then it becomes normalized, doesn't it?
The values look different.
And that's something we've seen here in the Nordics compared to other parts of the world.
That's actually a good point. It's very important to be specific. Now I'm talking about the Nordic countries. American realities are very different.
It's not so much the same in some other parts of the world. Sanna, you've spoken before in the past about having imposter syndrome, and I just wanted to pick up on that before we wrap up, because you have been winning awards, Young Entrepreneur of the Year, Future CEO of the Year, obviously these awards recognizing being a really decent employer as well. Are you managing that better? How have you kind of managed to get over that?
Well, not worse and not better, I will say. I think pretty similar as I've been saying before. But what I think is that as long as it does not kind of eat my well-being, it doesn't matter, because then it pushes me to pushes us forward to make even better work life and better cleaning industry.
Yeah, okay, really good answer. And I think I'm sure there will be a lot of people here with imposter syndrome, and going out and mingling in such a big event will be daunting for some people. So good luck, and don't forget there's an introverts zone if you do need a bit of time to yourself just to reflect and have a think about everything. But thank you so much to our guests
for having us.
This section. Sanna and Herta, we'll give them a big round of applause. And then we are going to wrap up. So almost that's everything for now from the HS Visio studio. I will be back at 10 to 2 with our next round of fantastic guests.
Kiitos.
Kiitos. Ja